Want to make fancy looking caramels that's not only fun and easy to make, but also quite tasty as well, and is also perfect for trick-or-treating or just for enjoying on its own? Stick around and I'll show you exactly how to make these caramels. Hi, my name is Tiffany and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making some ginger peach caramels. Or should I say, we attempt to make some ginger peach caramels because, I don't know, it's just how it turned out. I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh my god. God, I seriously hope this doesn't discourage some of you from even trying out this recipe today regardless. Oh boy. Now, if you're not already subscribed to me on YouTube, please hit that like button if you're enjoying what you are seeing here so far regardless, and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to be notified whenever I make a new video or short. So, these caramels are supposed to come out around the summertime to coincide with the peach harvest season, but because it's pretty much fall now, I guess these caramels could also work for Halloween as well. You know, you could possibly give this away as part of trick-or-treating or something like that, or you can have it as a little treat for yourself. That, and they're also the perfect fall treat in its own right as well, due to the fact that it's also flu season around this time, and these caramels are heavily based off the tea that I love to enjoy around this time of year. Ginger peach tea, everyone! One of my all-time favorite teas to drink, especially around this time of year. Try one whenever you get the chance to do so. While these caramels aren't exactly perfect today, I'm highly confident and assured that these caramels will not turn out as bad as mine did for anyone else who tries this recipe, simply because I have a serious and extremely bad case of a faulty thermometer issue. Curse you, thermometer! Ugh. No, seriously, I really need to get that thing replaced because honestly, the caramel should not be this bad. I've made caramels before and they don't normally turn out like this. I promise you, I'm telling you, it's a faulty thermometer, I'm telling you. So these caramels are infused with some of that ginger peach tea that I had shown you earlier, as well as having some caramelized honey and peach puree inside of it to really help boost that peach profile in these caramels. They're then topped with some homemade ginger toffee before being dumped in some white chocolate and topped with some crystallized ginger and dried peaches. Now, if this sounds like your kind of caramels, stick around and let's go get started. And just to show you guys quickly that you don't have to dunk your caramels in white chocolate if you don't want to. You could just simply leave your caramels as is and it'll be just as delicious. And don't worry about them being a little soft. The only reason mine look like these today is because I just have a faulty thermometer and really shitty luck. But I promise you, for you guys, your caramels will turn out just as fine. And I've even retested this caramels since making this recipe, and the adjusted recipe will be on my website, so follow that and use that as a reference to making these caramels, not the measurements that I use in here. Well, at least with the peach puree anyways, that's a little off, so I fixed that now and it should be all good to go. But other than that, your caramel should be just as fine. This recipe is sound. It's just a case of me having a really bad thermometer and bad luck. So onto the recipe. So actually, we aren't going to be making the caramels just as yet, but we are going to be making some ginger toffee, which is a part of the caramels, so I guess that counts? Anyways, you are going to take a large piece of ginger and peel that skin off. Then you are going to grate your ginger using the coarse end of your cheese grater. And don't even think about using your microplane for this part. Just trust me, okay? Just save yourself the heartache. And you're going to measure out 1/3 cup of this grated ginger to be used to steep with the cream, and just put any extra grated ginger aside for other future dishes or projects. In a small saucepan, pour 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons or 270 grams of heavy cream and add in the grated ginger. Warm the cream over medium heat until the cream starts to simmer and steam. Remove from the heat and allow it to steep for 30 minutes before pouring it into a cheesecloth lined bowl and squeezing out your liquid. You can even make this ahead of time and steep it overnight in the fridge for an even stronger ginger flavor if you like. In any case, once your cream is ready, top it back up to account for any loss of cream and set this aside for now. Line a large baking tray with a silicone mat. Mine doesn't quite fit the pan, but that's okay. The toffee isn't too big, so it's not like a huge deal breaker for me or anything. And in a large pot, measure out 1¼ cups or 250 grams of granulated sugar, 50 grams of light corn syrup. Do not use dark hair, I'm dead serious on that one. Half a teaspoon of salt, and your steeped ginger cream from earlier, and mix together using a spoon or a spatula until fully combined. Brush the sides with some water to prevent it from crystallizing, and continue to stir your toffee until it starts to bubble. Attach a candy thermometer to the pot, and we are going to be cooking this toffee until we get to 298 degrees Fahrenheit or 148 degrees Celsius. And unlike with most candy recipes where you do not want to stir it unless you want to crystallize it, we are just going to give a gentle stir with a clean spatula every now and again so that the toffee doesn't burn at the bottom, and also so that it can caramelize more evenly. Don't overdo it though, or your toffee will end up chewy or worse, crystallized. Okay, so we're at around the 295 degree Fahrenheit mark, and as you can see here, this toffee is still not ready yet. I wasn't kidding when I said that my thermometer is acting up. Ice water never lies after all. See that? This is a softball stage. Yeah, even after cooking it to the correct temperature, it's still not done. I also had this problem at school using their recipe, so I'm telling you, it's not a case of my recipe being shitty now. So now, at least for me, not sure about you, we have to cook it to basically 320 degrees Fahrenheit? That's absurd, I know, but that's the temperature that I have to use in order to get a decent toffee. Testing that sugar syrup again, and it's a little better now. You have some hard cracks around the edges, which is what we are looking for, though I do have some soft spots, so my toffee is going to be a little chewy, sadly. See that? That's a hard crack. That's what you are looking for here. Once the toffee is ready, pour it into the prepared pan and spread it across the baking tray. You might want to give it a few short stirs before pouring it so that your fats don't separate at the top like how it is here. Or just simply blot it with a few paper towels and hopefully it solves that problem too. But yeah, you really don't want your fats to separate. Allow your toffee to completely cool and set, preferably overnight, before going to town and smashing your toffee into small pieces like a maniac. Smash! Smash! Hulk! Smash! Just really get in there and make sure to finely smash these as small as you can. And then, once your toffee pieces are small enough, reserve about half a cup of your toffee pieces and set them aside to sprinkle on top of your caramels. As for the rest of the toffee, well, consider this as a bonus treat to snack on. To keep with the theme of making everything from scratch, I've also candied some ginger to use to put on top of these caramels. Peel about a pound's worth of fresh ginger, which is around 454 grams, and then cut it into small to medium-sized cubes. Place it into a large pot and add enough water to cover the top of the ginger. Cover your pot and bring it to a boil for 3 minutes before removing the lid and allowing the ginger to steep for 20 minutes. Drain your ginger and then add in 3 cups or 600 grams of granulated sugar and 3 cups or 720 milliliters of water to the pot. Allow the sugars to dissolve before adding back in your ginger. Give the ginger a quick stir before covering it and cooking it on medium-high heat for 60 minutes or until the sugar syrup has thickened. Carefully remove the ginger from the sugar syrup and, in small batches at a time, toss the ginger with some additional granulated sugar and then place it in a separate container. Repeat this process until all of your ginger has been candied. You can also check out the short video that I did on the candied ginger if you like. The recipe and instructions will also be included in the description box down below so that you can follow along. Now it's finally time to get started on those caramels. To a small saucepan, add in 1 cup or 240 milliliters of heavy cream and bring it to a simmer over medium heat. Once the cream has warmed, add in 5 of your ginger peach tea bags or about 10 grams of loose leaf ginger peach tea and allow the tea to steep in the cream for about an hour. Then drain the cream from the tea and give it a quick stir before setting aside. Next comes the peach puree. Place 1 pound or about 454 grams of frozen peach slices into a blender. You can even use some fresh ones if it's in season, and puree it on high speed until it's smooth. You may have to add in some water to the blender so that it can puree properly. Cook the puree over medium heat until the puree has reduced down to 3/4 cups or about 175 grams in weight. Sadly, when I first made these caramels, I accidentally added in 227 grams into these caramels, thinking that it would be okay. But as it turns out, that's what caused today's caramels to be extra soft and not set right. So what you are seeing here is Exhibit A to what went wrong, folks. Learn from my mistake and only add in 175 grams. No more and no less. Besides, that weight equates it to being equal to the puree to sugar ratio that my school uses, so you know that this new adjustment will work. Next, we are going to brown some butter in the microwave since I'm definitely not in the mood to mess up any more dishes. And also these caramels are quite involved already, so I wanted to try a method that's quick and easy. Cut up 3/4 cups or 170 grams of unsalted butter and place it into a large microwave-safe bowl. Cover it with some plastic wrap and melt it in the microwave for 5 to 6 minutes or until your butter has browned. Make sure to check up on it every so often so that it doesn't burn. Also, your butter will be scorching hot, so be very careful with it. Once your butter has browned, pour 113 grams of this butter to be used for the caramels and use the rest of the butter to grease an 8x8 square pan and then line it with some parchment paper. Top up your steeped tea cream from earlier until it weighs 240 grams and place it on the stove top on low heat to warm up your cream. Using a large saucepan, the same one from before or a different one, it doesn't matter. Pour in half a cup or 175 grams of honey and cook it over medium heat. Your honey will start to boil vigorously as it warms up. Swirl the honey around the pot as it cooks so that it doesn't brown unevenly, and continue to cook your honey until it's a deep caramel color. Quickly add in your warmed cream, browned butter, and your peach puree and stir together until combined. And guys, I swear that this concoction smells like a delicious soup. It's like the caramelized honey and browned butter adds a somewhat savory note to the peaches in a way that reminds me of a pumpkin soup for some reason. I don't know. I may have to actually make it into a soup one day and see if it really was a great soup idea. Now we can finally get started on those caramels. I know these guys are a bit involved, but I promise you that the end result is so worth it. Anyways, we are going to take 1/4 cups or 250 grams of granulated sugar, and we are going to dry caramelize our caramels by sprinkling out our sugar in an even layer and giving it a stir until the sugars start to caramelize. Then add in another layer of sugar and continue to add in your sugar and stir in it until all of your sugars have been caramelized. Remove from the heat and pour in your peach puree mixture and quickly stir it together. Brush the sides of the pot with some water and place the pot back over medium heat and continue to cook your caramels until you have reached a temperature of 250 degrees Fahrenheit or 121 degrees Celsius. You may have to cook your caramels for much longer if it's still not set after this point, so continue to keep an eye on it. My video on how to fix undercooked caramels will also be a helpful resource for you to check out in case you are also struggling with temperature issues like I am. Once the caramels are ready, Quickly add in 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and stir it together. Pour your caramels into your prepared pan. Oops! The pan slipped out of my hands! I have butterfingers! Don't mind me! Oops! And allow your caramels to cool for about half an hour before topping it with your reserved ginger toffee. You'll want to do this step while the caramels are still sticky at the top, but at the same time, they aren't so soft that your toffee ends up sinking. Once your caramels are completely covered with the toffee, continue to cool your caramels overnight so that they can set. Then, take out your caramels and cut them into 1 inch by 1 inch squares. Make little indents along every inch so that you know exactly where to cut. And here's another consequence of me from adding in too much peach puree. Because there's too much moisture in the caramels won't even cut properly and it ends up being like mush. And this is even after I cooked it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes, that's right, I practically burned the sugars in these, but yet it still won't give me the firm ball that I'm looking for in these caramels. So that is why you should always follow the recipe and not add in any more puree than what is called for, because sometimes adding in too much of an ingredient isn't really a good thing after all. That is why I show you my failures so that you can learn from them and know not to repeat them for yourself. And your caramels are finally complete. Well, if you want them plain, that is. But I want to dunk mine in some chocolate, so let's go do that, shall we? So I'm just going to finely chop some of our candied ginger into small dice, as well as some dried peaches. Now, if you can't find any dried peaches anywhere, dried apricots makes a fine substitute. I also couldn't find dried peaches, so I'm just going to be using some dried apricots here. Then, we are going to chop up 16 ounces or 454 grams of white chocolate. Like the real chocolate, do not use any of that cheap candy coating here. And add about 12 ounces or 340 grams of your chocolate to a large metal bowl and leave the rest for seeding. Melt your chocolate over a double boiler set on medium heat and continue to melt your chocolate until your chocolate has reached 45 degrees Celsius or 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Wipe your bowl of any condensation and add in some of your reserved chopped chocolate. Gently stir the chocolate together until the chocolate has completely melted before adding in more chocolate. Continue the seeding process until your chocolate has reached a temperature of 29 degrees Celsius or 84 degrees Fahrenheit. To test to see if your chocolate is ready, dunk a piece of parchment paper into the chocolate and allow it to sit for 5 minutes. If the chocolate feels dry to the touch, has a nice shine, and has a really nice snap, then your chocolate is ready to go. Dunk your caramel into the tempered chocolate and wipe it of any excess chocolate so that it's not too thick. Place onto a baking tray or a cooling rack or even a plate lined with wax or parchment paper and sprinkle on your chopped candied ginger and dried peaches. Make sure to keep your tempered chocolate at the correct temperature by warming it up every once in a while so that it doesn't lose its temper. Continue this process until all of your chocolate has been used up or all of your caramels have been dunked, whichever comes first. Then admire all of your hard work and enjoy your ginger peach caramels. Mine aren't exactly perfect today because of a few mistakes that I did, but I'm confident that yours will turn out even better.
And there you have it, ginger peach caramels. Perfect for summer or fall, these caramels are the delight for the senses and are highly addictive too. And if after making your caramels still end up being super soft just like mine were, even after using the ice water test, then you may also have a faulty thermometer. That or your kitchen and or stovetop might just as well be cursed. But no, in all seriousness, you may want to give my troubleshooting your undercooked caramels video a look to see all the tips and tricks that I use to help transform your super soft caramels into caramels that actually holds the shape. I'll leave the link to that video in the description box down below, as well as in the top right corner of this video. Despite the soft appearance, I am still gonna try these caramels regardless because they still look really good. So I'm gonna have a taste of these. We did the caramelized honey a bit, it's a little burnt. Well, the little burnt sugar never hurt anyone. So if you're into that, this is a really good treat for you to try out. Otherwise, just slightly cook the honey a little bit lighter than what I showed you in the video, and it'll be just perfect. And I really like the ginger in this. And the spiciness just pops, and the caramels, and just makes everything pop. It's nice and refreshing with chocolate and the peach and everything. It's perfect. I really very much. You can really taste the tea in that. This is like perfect. This definitely reminds me of the tea. Give this a try. The ginger peach is your thing. So that is it for today's video. If you liked what you see here and enjoyed today's tutorial, please give this video a like and comment down below and tell me what you think of it. Especially if you're going to give this recipe a try. And who knows, perhaps these caramels will turn out even better for you than they clearly ever did for me. No, seriously, they will turn out better for you, I promise you. Yeah. Share this video so that other people may give these caramels a try. And if you enjoy the baking content that I do on here, please subscribe to me on YouTube and ring that notification bell to be notified whenever I make a new video tutorial or short. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Both usernames are at Tiff's Patisserie, and the written recipe to today's ginger peach caramels will be on my website at tiffspatisserie.wordpress.com. The link to that is in the description box down below. And until next time, you guys, stay safe out there. No, seriously, like, do you not hear the thunder? Like, I'm seriously concerned of what's going on out there. Like, I'm so scared, guys. Like, do you not hear that? No, just me? But seriously, there was a serious thing going on out there a long time ago. So yeah, peace out, and I'll see you in my next video.